All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. Time to dive deeper into the lost wisdom of the pharaohs and the Corpus Hermeticum, divine Pymander, original manuscript, Hermes Trismegistus, 3rd century AD. Now, this is a new edition, 2015, edited by Tarl Warwick. However, 2015 may not be the newest edition. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the Corpus Hermeticum is one of the primary works of the Hermetic tradition. This Renaissance era craft is nonetheless based upon philosophical materials from far older times, from which the primordial material came. Credited to Hermes Trismegistus, the divine Pymander, sometimes called Pomander, touches upon astronomy, science, nature, and a great deal of theological material, and pretty much an explanation of all of the greatest questions. What is the soul? What is the spirit? Well, that was last week. What is God? Well, that is this week. And so, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are on, I'm pretty sure, book number 5 of the Corpus Hermeticum. We have gone through Pomander, Hermes Trismegistus' first book, the Divine and Holy Sermon by Hermes Trismegistus, and then it was what we did last 2 Wednesdays was the key, and that was very fascinating. A lot of this describing creation, the creation of reality, the creation of the gods, the zodiac, our souls and spirits, the material realm related to the spiritual realm. And I think that is a lot of what today's book, the 5th book in the Corpus Hermeticum, or the 5th chapter, if you want to call it that. And it is entitled that God is not manifest and yet is most manifest. So manifest being created or existing within the material realm. Not manifest would be not created or existing within the material realm. So with that, we will not delay any further, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just go ahead and have some fun today and begin and dive into this, because this should be fascinating. It always is powerful, profound. It's a mind bending and changing, extraordinary journey going through the Hermetics, especially the Corpus Hermeticum so far. We also had a lot of fun in the Hermetica as well on this channel. So if you missed that whole series, be sure to check that out. Hope you got yourself a beverage, hot or cold, depending on your choice. And I hope it is beautiful wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for being here. Now, let us dive in to that God is not manifest, and yet is most manifest. It begins by saying, 1, this discourse I will also make to you, O Thoth, that you may not be ignorant of the more excellent name of God. But you should contemplate in your mind how that which to many seems hidden and not manifest may be most manifest to you. For it were not all, if it were apparent, for whatsoever is apparent is generated or made, for it was made manifest. But that which is not manifest is eternal. And so the Tao Te Ching refers to these same kind of ideas, the Tao being not manifest, but eternal. So God, or the universe, Atum, whatever that be for you, is this thing that is responsible for the manifestation of all things, while it itself is eternal and is not any of these things that are manifested, but is all of it, which can be paradoxical and confusing. So let us continue, ladies and gentlemen, because this takes much contemplation, which is why he said to begin with here, we should contemplate in our mind how that which to many people seems hidden and not manifested in reality may be manifest for us, so that, in other words, we may come to see God, or the eternal, that is the underlying essence of all that is manifest, or all that is here in the physical realm. Now, number 4, for it need not be manifested, for it always is and was. So let me read number 3 and then 4 again. Number 3, for it were not all, if it were apparent, for whatsoever is apparent is generated or made. For it was made manifest, but that which is not manifest, God, is eternal. For it need not be manifested, for it always is and was. The source, I'll add, of all things. Number 5, and he makes all other things manifest, being not manifest. As being always and making other things manifest, he has not made manifest. God is not made, yet in fantasy he imagines all things, or in appearance he makes them appear. For appearance is only of those things that are generated and made. For appearance is nothing but generation. So to me, that's saying you would not be able to see anything that is not manifest, or that is not created, generated, or made, or exists within the physical realm. However, there are things that do exist that are not within this physical realm. However, if you're getting something different from this, then please leave me your ideas in the comments below. Disclaimer, I am no master, and we're here to have some fun and see what we can learn about this incredible wisdom of Hermetics and the ancients and the wisdom of the pharaohs. And so hopefully through that increased awareness and understanding of the nature of reality and ourselves and God and all of these big questions, through that awareness, hopefully we can increase the quality of our lives. So if we can increase our awareness, hopefully we can increase our quality of life. Now, that's the reason we're here. Number 7, but he that is one, the oneness maybe, that is not made or generated, is also unapparent and not manifest. But making all things appear, he appears in all, by all. But especially he is manifested to or in those things wherein he makes himself apparent. Apparent being one word, not a parent, but A-P-P-A-R-E-N-T. This is where he makes himself known in these things wherein, see, this is fascinating because this is very paradoxical, but there seems to be certain things, maybe humanity or maybe parts of nature, wherein the divinity, the source, the oneness, Atum, the Tao, God, makes itself more apparently known through these things. However, let's continue. Number 9, you therefore, O Thoth, my son, pray first to the Lord and Father and to the singular and to the one, from whom is one to be merciful to thee, that you may know and understand so great a God, that he would shine one of his beams upon you in your understanding. See, here comes these beams again, referencing the enlightenment, or maybe the power of light to transfer wisdom, consciousness, knowledge, frequencies. I got some great comments about that last week. So very fascinating and very deep. We'll have to go over some of the comments in the future, ladies and gentlemen, because some people have some great ideas to add to this. And so please leave your thoughts below and let us continue. So that last line there being, O Thoth, my son, pray first to the Lord and the Father and to the singular, to the one, maybe to the source. See, this makes me think of maybe why the sun god was the most important god, because it is the source maybe for all of life and the possibility of what our reality on earth here is in this physical realm, and the sun being the source of energy, maybe, for all of this, as that being a metaphor as God, or Ra, or Atum, or, being the source for everything, including the sun. But this was talked about a lot in the Hermetica, and also in the first book here of the Corpus Hermeticum, Hermes Trismegistus, his first book. Now, for only the understanding see that which is not manifest or apparent as being itself not manifest or apparent. And if you are able, O Thoth, it will appear to the eyes of your mind. So if we are able to look beyond the forms of the physical things that we see, we may see the underlying non-physical nature or essence or source behind all of this. I've talked about this before, like the tomato seed, and there isn't tomatoes inside the seed. It's literally just this brown dust, but there is this essence of tomato-ness that, given the right circumstances and conditions, there is a potentiality or a future pull for manifestation of tomatoes. Now, this is a different way to look at it. I like to, think of it more simply like that, and we can come back to these things that are very, very deep when it comes to understanding the nature of reality and God. For only the understanding see that which is not manifest or apparent as being itself not manifest or apparent. And if you are able, O Thoth, spelled T-A-T, I'm wondering if that is Thoth or if that is a different god, because there are other gods that go by very similar names in the Egyptian pantheon. Thoth being related to a sun god, also called Tannin or Tannen, but it's very fascinating to look at all that. It will appear, this understanding, to the eyes of our mind. So remember earlier it said you will not be able, these things, God is not made, yet in fantasy he imagines all things, or in appearance he makes them appear, for appearance is only of those things that are generated or made. So we are here generated and made. And so therefore appearance, or the ability to see something physically, is only for that of things that are physical. But this spiritual nature, this connecting to God and the source of everything that is in the material realm, that comes from the spiritual realm. Remember, this whole philosophy is focused around the idea of as above, so below, or a mirror image of the spiritual realm to the physical realm, and this dual nature of not only ourselves, but of reality that also has a balance. There's these polarities, and it's very fascinating. Now, sorry, I like to ramble a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully you're getting value. I know I am. This is always fun. And it looks like this goes only to 49 verses, so we'll probably be able to get through this today and not have to do 2 parts, but maybe we'll see how much that I ramble. If you're getting value, consider subscribing and share this with somebody who is like-minded. Now, so it will appear to the eyes of our mind, not our physical eyes. 11, for the Lord, void of entry, appears through the whole world. You may see the intelligence and take it into your hands and contemplate the image of God. 12, but if that which is in you be not known or apparent unto you, how shall he in you be seen and appear to you by the eyes? 13, but if you will see him, consider and understand the sun. Consider the course of the moon. Consider the order of the stars. So become a student of astrology, astrotheology, the zodiac. It's very fascinating. But if you will see him, I think he's speaking of Atum, or God, Atum being the name of the, most important or foremost one God in Egyptian religion or spirituality. I like to call all of this, some people are like, this is occult or this is esoteric, or, they try to give names for all these things, but I like to call all of this, whether it be Hermetics or, the Tao or Zen philosophy or many, many, many different spiritual traditions. I just like to call all of it spiritual philosophy and the wisdom of the ages, because it's easier and we don't have to argue about things. Because in the Hermetica, we found out in the history of the Hermetica that the most important times on this planet were when we were able to come together side by side and compare and study all of these things without fighting over it. But it seems that every time there seems to be a large religious group, they then shut down all of the other spiritual traditions, so we can't come to an enlightenment of humanity. And that's why we're here, for that spiritual revolution, so that hopefully we are committing to the enlightenment so that we can have a society of enlightened men and women. But if you will see him, Atum, I'm guessing, continues, speaking to Thoth, or it's Hermes speaking to Thoth, but that would mean he's... Who's talking here is beyond me, but this is important. But if you will see him, consider and understand the sun, consider the course of the moon, and consider the order of the stars. 14. Who is he that keeps order? For all order is circumscribed or terminated in number and place. 15. The sun is the greatest of the gods in heaven, to whom all the heavenly gods give place, as to a king and potentate. Potentate? Huh. And yet, he being such a one, greater than the earth or the sea, is content to suffer the infinite lesser stars to walk and move above himself. Whom does he fear the while, O sun? Atum asks a question. Number 16. Every one of these stars that are in heaven do not make the like or an equal course. Who is it that has prescribed to every one the manner and the greatness of their course? So it seems he's asking, like, if you can see this, then you can see that there is a divine creator behind these courses. 17. This bear turns around about its own self and carries round the whole world with her, who possessed and made such an instrument. So the great bear in astrology, maybe. 18. Who has set the bounds to the sea, who has established the earth. For there is somebody, O Thoth, that is the maker and the Lord of these things. For it is impossible, O sun, that either place or number or measure should be observed without a maker. Number 20, for no order can be made by disorder or disproportion. Disproportion. 21, I wish it were possible for you, O my son, to have wings and to fly into the air, and being taken up into the midst between heaven and earth, and to see the stability of the earth, the fluidity of the sea, the course of the rivers, the vastness of the air, the shapes and swiftness of the fire, the motion of the stars, and the speediness of the heavens by which it goes round about all of these. O sun, what a happy sight it were at one instant to see all these, that which is immovable, moved, and that which is hidden, appear and be manifest. Now, this is something, people will describe when they have quote unquote mystical or, very spiritual experiences, transcendental experiences, maybe. Not sure how to describe it. But when they have these kind of out of body experiences, to where you literally go to a different place, a perspective, and it's often described as a zooming out, to where you see the whole, you can see the whole country of where you are, and then you're flying around like in a spirit body or whatever was being described right there by Atum and Hermes Trismegistus. And you are able to then zoom out further and see the whole planet, and further you begin to become this oneness that you can see you're out of space and time, and it is an entirely new awareness to see the oneness of all things outside of our limited, individual perspectives that we have here in the material realm as ourselves, battling and dealing with the ego, like we've talked about before as well on this channel. It's just so fascinating how these things are often described in similar ways by many different people, whether that be sages, Egyptian gods, or just common individuals of modern times who have had unique personal experiences, that we come to the same kind of description of this, finding this awareness of this oneness or this unity or God. It's very fascinating. I love this, ladies and gentlemen. So am I saying, though, that we can do this? That I can do this? I personally haven't ever had that kind of experience. And, I don't know, really, if all of us can, or if it's only certain of us, or if it is for a certain time, as the last words of thrice great Hermes said. Hermes Trismegistus. He said this in the very beginning of the Hermetica. The last words of thrice great Hermes. Wise words, although written by my decaying hand, remain imperishable throughout time, imbued with the medicine of immortality by the All-Master. Be unseen and undiscovered by all those who will come and go, wandering the wastelands of life. Be hidden until an older heaven births human beings who are worthy of your wisdom. Having sounded this prayer over the works of his hands, Hermes was received into the sanctuary of eternity. But is this that time of an older heaven where it will birth human beings who are worthy of this wisdom, who will come to know God and attain true knowledge of Atum, the one God? It's fascinating, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, yet unlike these texts, which are now readily available and widely read, the works of Hermes have been lost under the dead weight of academic translations, Christian prejudice, and, being called evil and dark and occult obscurities. And so now we find ourselves here. But remember, as it said in the beginning of today's book, line number 2, let me pull that up, sorry, referencing here like I do. Line number 2, but you should contemplate in your mind how that which to many seems hidden and not real or not manifest may be made manifest to us, so that we can come to see God and to know God and to experience Atum, the Tao, Great Spirit, Grand Organized Design, whatever you call God. Once again, the name is not important. As the Tao Te Ching says, the Tao that is named is not the eternal Tao. And the Tao that is not named is the eternal Tao. The Tao that is named is the mother of the 10,000 things, or the things that we see made manifest, that begin to distract us from the source, the underlying essence and connection and oneness of all of it, which is God. And so the prophecies of Hermes began with, I think, the greatest teaching of Hermetics. Just simply, everything that I've researched so far. And this is the first book in the Hermetica, or the first chapter. I call them books because it's more of a scriptural thing. Anyways, pure philosophy is spiritual striving. Through what? How do we get to attain the true knowledge of Atum, the one God, ladies and gentlemen? Well, he said it already multiple times. Through constant contemplation, constant thinking about it, and pondering on it, and meditating on it, and then coming back and ruminating on it, and thinking about it some more, and contemplating more, and eventually, hopefully, through 20 lifetimes and through piety towards Atum. The student of philosophy studies the sciences not as fanciful theories, but as devotion to Atum, because they reveal a universe perfectly ordered by the power of number. And the forces of fire and the magnitudes of physical things leads to a reverent awe at the Creator's skill and wisdom. And because the mysteries of music bear witness to the unsurpassed talent of the supreme artist who has beautifully harmonized all things into a single whole, suffused with sweet melodies. That's part of the first book of the Hermetica, but you can see that that relates exactly to what is being described here today. And I didn't know we were going to go there, but that's how this works all the time. We reference back and forth between what we've learned already and what we're learning now. And we seem to be unlocking the keys or finding the pieces of the puzzle and putting it together. So hopefully, eventually, we can create a whole picture of an awareness, of a greater awareness and understanding, so that through that increased awareness, we can increase the quality, once again, of our lives, and not only our lives, but the lives of those around us, and be the tide that lifts all boats, ladies and gentlemen. So back to where we were here. I'll go through it a little quicker now without rambling, if that's possible for me. 21. I wish it were possible for you, O my son, to have wings and to fly into the air, and being taken up into the midst between heaven and earth, and see the stability of the earth, the fluidity of the sea, the courses of the rivers, the vastness of the air, and the sharpness and the swiftness of the fire, and the motion of the stars, and the speediness of the heavens, by which it goes round about all these. 22. O son, what a happy sight it were at one instant to see all these, that which is immovable moved, and that which is hidden appear and be manifest. 23. And if you would see and behold this workman, even by mortal things that are upon earth and in the deep, consider, O son, how man is made and framed in the womb, and examine diligently the skill and the cunning of the workman, and learn who it was that wrought and fashioned the beautiful and divine shape of, it says man, but of course we all know woman would go before man in that sentence. But that's from my own personal perspective. As you can see, that was a duality mindset there. We're trying to go beyond duality to non-duality, ladies and gentlemen. But as we all know, that's a lifetime of a process. And it's good to have some fun anyways. We need a little levity here. We're trying not to be too serious, because the most important and serious thing that there can be in life is to not be too serious. It reminds me of the great old quote, why so serious? Like it's all just a ride anyways. That second part was not part of the quote, but maybe then we can go to the Bill Hicks quote. It's just a ride. And then, the people that try to come to us and remind us, hey, like, your worries and your bank account and all, like, don't worry, it's just a ride. And we tell them, people, no, it's just got to be real. See, I couldn't read without rambling, sorry. Anyways, and if you should see and behold this workman, O son, and how that man is made and framed in the womb, and examine diligently the cunning, and learn who it was that wrought and fashioned the beautiful shape and divine shape of man and woman, of humanity, who circumscribed and marked out his eyes, who bored his nostrils and ears, who opened his mouth, who stretched out and tied together his sinews, who channeled the veins, who clothed the flesh with skin, who hardened and made strong the bones, who divided the fingers and joints, and who flattened and made broad the soles of the feet, who dug the pores, who stretched out the spleen, who made the heart like a pyramid. What? That caught me off guard. Who made the heart like a pyramid? Wow. Maybe that's a modern distraction, to use the heart shape to take the pyramid. I don't have a pyramid here. We'll use the corner of this card. Beautiful little image there on the card, actually. But if we take the pyramid and flip it upside down and put two half circles on it, we'll call it a heart. There's got to be symbology in that. I know shapes are huge in symbology, especially triangles and circles, half circles, these kind of things. And then when you combine certain ones, I'm no master on symbology, but that's a deep study in its own, and it's all connected. It's all connected. All of the wisdom of all of reality is all connected to this overarching understanding of all of reality. It just takes, apparently, a deep mind to see it. But the heart as a pyramid, that blows my mind. Anyways, who made the heart like a pyramid? Who made the liver broad? Who made the lungs spongy and full of holes? Who made the belly large and capacious? Who set to outward view the more honorable parts and hide the filthy ones? Well, I would say to the mind of God, to Atum or to Thoth, that these are all most excellent questions and can help us to see the very incredible creation that we are dealing with, and that it cannot be random fact, and that in fact, through this awareness or understanding, we must hopefully come to see that there is a divine source that all of this comes from, that all of us, that all of creation is created by this workman. 24. See how many arts in one matter, and how many works in one superscription, and all exceedingly beautiful, and all done in measure, and yet all differing. Who has made all these things? What mother? What father? Save only God, that is not manifest, that made all things by his own will. 26. And no man says that a statue or an image is made without a carver or a painter. And was this workmanship made without a workman? I mean, this is the debate here. Like, people think that this, oh, God just doesn't exist and everything is just happenstance. And like Atum, or the mind of God, Pymander, whoever's talking to Thoth here, which could be Thoth, or it could be Thoth talking to Thoth, whoever Thoth would be. However, it's like, can you not see? Who has made all these things? What mother? What father? And no man says that a statue or an image is made without a carver or a painter. And was this workmanship made without a workman? With an exclamation point, he says, oh, great blindness. Oh, great impiety. Oh, great ignorance. In other words, for to ignore all of these signs and then to ignore the existence of Atum, of the Tao, of God, of that which we are a part of and is our divine source, making us divine in nature as well. Also mortal, so we're immortal and mortal at the same time. That's in a different book earlier. Talks about our dual nature, or a different chapter earlier. However, never, O son Thoth, can you deprive the workmanship of the workman. Rather, it is the best name of all the names of God to call him the Father of all. For so he is alone, and this is his work, to be the Father, Creator. You can see how Christianity took that term, the Father, and then split it into a concept and changed it here from what it was originally meant to teach us and enlighten us about. 28. And if you force me to say anything more boldly, it is his essence to be pregnant or great with all things and to make them. 29. And as without a maker, it is impossible that anything should be made. So it is that he should not always be and always be making all things in heaven, in the air, in the earth, in the deep, in the whole world, and in every part of the whole that is or that is not. For there is nothing in the whole world that is not himself, both things that are and the things that are not. 31. For the things that are manifest, he has made manifest, and the things that are not, he has hidden in himself. This is God, that is better than any name. This is he that is secret. This is he that is most manifest. This is he that is to be seen, I'll add the word only, by the mind. But that's not true, because we also, if we can see the underlying nature of the essence or the oneness of all of this reality, that Lao Tzu calls the 10,000 things, then we can also see it with the eyes. However, that he is, this is he that is to be seen by the mind. This is he that is visible to the eye. This is he that has no body. This is he that has many bodies. Rather, there is nothing of any body which is not he. In other words, there is nothing of anything which is not God. But even that which is not in existence is also God. Paradoxes, gotta love them. 33. For he alone is all things. And for this cause he has many names, because he is the one Father, and therefore he has no name, because he is the Father of all. You can switch the term Father with Creator if you'd like, or source of, who therefore can bless you, or give thanks for you, or to you. But see, a firm Hermeticist would tell me, no, you cannot switch these words and names because it is very important the way that they are separated in certain texts. That's fine. Thank you so much. Actually, I appreciate you being here, because I am just a beginner with all this. I've only been studying for a few years on Hermetics alone, spiritual philosophy for, 15, maybe 20, maybe longer, my whole life, because I went through a whole lot of Christian upbringing and catechism classes and, memorization thing, a lot of that stuff, which was the basis, the springboard that led me on to the deeper questions later in my life. As I got out of childhood into being a young adult, I started to wonder, well, there's all these religions around the world. How can they all be wrong? And actually, with that point, how can all the other versions of Christianity be wrong too? And we're the only ones. That seems kind of arrogant, to say the least. Talk about an ego base mindset. Now, then I started to realize that this thing that is being described by all cultures all across the world, and usually has the name God or something like it, like he was saying, for he alone is all things, and for this cause he has many names. Everybody's trying to describe this, and it seems that we have a hard time coming together to recognize that we're all trying to describe the same thing here from different perspectives, and it would actually benefit all of us if we would stop arguing about whose perspective is the correct one and begin to amalgamate our perspectives to find the real answer, the real wisdom to come to know Atum, or God. However, 34. And for this cause he has many names, because he is the one Father, and therefore he has no names, because he is the Father of all. Who, therefore, can bless you and give thanks for you or to you? Which way shall I look when I praise you? Upward, downward, outward, inward? The answer I often get for that question, if you're actually asking that seriously, is the doorway most often opens inwardly. When we can stop pushing, metaphorically, in life to try to, and when we stop pushing and allow the doorway to open inward, is when we finally make true progress. Anyways, with that being said, outward, inward, upward, downward, where, which way shall we look when we give praise to Atum, to the Creator, to Source, to God? Grand organized design, God. That's why I like that one. Actually, what was described here today was this grand organized design, and how can you ignore that? And that, put very powerfully by Atum, was never to do that, to never ignore it. And it is actually a very terrible thing to take away, to deprive the workmanship of the workman. What great blindness, great impiety, and great ignorance that would be for us to do. But unfortunately, some of us in this material realm throughout the eons have fallen into that trap of the ego, mortal, physical mind, part of ourselves. 38. Nope, sorry. So the answer to that question here in this book, I'll read 36, 37 again. Which way shall I look when I praise you? Upward, downward, outward, inward? For about these there is no manner, nor place, nor anything else of all things that are. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, back in, I believe it was the second book. No, it's the first book of the Corpus Hermeticum. And it says this: write this first book for both for humanity's sake and for piety towards God. For there can be no religion more true or just than to simply, I'm adding the word simply and seek, to simply seek to know the things that are. That's it. And then to acknowledge thanks for all things and to him that made them, or the Creator. Which thing, hopefully, we shall not cease continually to do, which is what today's lesson has been about, actually, is being able to see God and then know God. Very, very fascinating. I did not know we were going to go this direction today. Hopefully you're getting value. I know that you are, because this is profound. This is incredible. And so be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment below, and let me know what this is meant for you. But all things are in you. All things are from you. You give all things and take nothing. For you have all things, and there is nothing that you do not possess. When shall I praise you, O Father? For is it neither possible to comprehend your hour, nor your time? 40. For what shall I praise you? For what you have made, or for what you have not made? For those things you have manifested, or those things that you have hidden? So he's kind of asking like these questions, like, what should I praise you for? Because I'm guessing he's confused about the nature of this. This seems to be the position of the person, one of the people in these conversations or these dialogues or discourses, is that one of them continually is like, huh, but what does that mean? Which is good, because that's kind of the position where we are in this journey. And so, for what shall I praise you? For what you have made? For what you have not made? For the things that you have manifested, or the things that you have hidden? Wherefore shall I praise you? As being of myself, or having anything of my own? Or rather being another's? For you are what I am. You are what I do. And you are what I say. You are all things, and there is nothing else you are not. This reminds me of a Zen quote, I think, and it's like, you are not doing anything, we are being done. So everything we are doing is what God is doing. And we are actually, it's funny to think of it that way. And that's kind of what that 42 made me think there. For you are what I am, and you are what I do. We are what God is doing and what God is. For we are what God says. We are all things. God is all things. And there is nothing else that it is not. Atum, you are you, all that is made, all that is not made, the mind that understands, the Father that makes and frames, the good that works, the good that does all things. And the final line of the 5th book of the Corpus Hermeticum, that God is not made manifest and yet is most manifest, is number 49. Of the matter, the most subtle and slender is air. Of the air, the soul, and of the soul, the mind. Of the mind, God. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a boom to wisdom and a boom to hermetics and the Corpus Hermeticum. That was profound. That was fascinating. And I loved every bit of that. I loved how it spent a lot of time discussing there how there are these things that are made to be seen in the physical realm by God, but then there are these other things that are not made, but that is also of God. And this goes back to that dual nature, the spiritual, the non-physical, and the physical. Although maybe I should use a different way of describing that, because that doesn't mean that the physical is non-spiritual. I just use that as a way to describe non-physical. Fascinating. That was incredible, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave it there. I'll try not to ramble anymore. Hopefully, we were picking up what was being put down here. And next Wednesday, took yesterday off to go spend some time in the beautiful Rocky Mountains here. Hopefully you've seen that little short that I made yesterday, because it was a beautiful day and it was nice. And we just hit 1,000 subscribers last week on this channel on the 14th, so 4 days ago. So that is a round of applause to you, ladies and gentlemen, every single one of my awesome and amazing supporters. And those of you just joining in the journey, it means so much to me that you would spend your time here with me, seeking the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of these ancient sages and mystics, philosophers, poets, and that through this journey, hopefully, we can continue. And remember to do this, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness, ladies and gentlemen, through enlightenment, through increased awareness and understanding of the nature of reality. So through that increased awareness, we can increase the quality of our experience. And also remember that there is no way to happiness, because happiness is the way. It is what we must create the ability within ourselves through this work, through this practice, through this study, and this contemplation, that we can create the ability within ourselves to bring happiness or enlightenment or an awareness to life. So that all the things we've been telling ourselves, oh, I'll be happy when I get this, or have that much money, or I'll be enlightened when I learn these kinds, that becomes irrelevant, because then we already are there. And then the entire journey is wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much again for the support. I think I've been doing this channel for like 10, 6, many years now, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe we'll make a text post that says how many years we've been doing the channel. And we finally got to the 1,000 mark. I spent so many years, right around 400, just sitting there, and that was fine. And I don't even really do this for the subscribers. As you could tell, I would be a whole lot more into presentation and editing and thumbnails and all of the rigmarole. But for me, it's just about having fun and seeking to discover the lost wisdom of the ages and the mysteries of our history. And so, with that being said, once again, thank you. Be sure to expand the description so you can get the book for yourself, so you can put it on your shelf, so we can follow along in future episodes. And just for reference for yourself, if you're ever pondering and contemplating on the nature of reality, or just need an uplift, because this stuff always makes me feel better. And so we will be doing Tuesday next week, as well as Wednesday. And oh yeah, what was next Wednesday's lesson? It is entitled Book number 6 of the Corpus Hermeticum, that God alone is good. God alone is good. And that's not coming to us from a Christian text. That's coming to us from an occult, esoteric, hermetic, ancient Egyptian spiritual philosophy. So thank you. Love and appreciate each and every one of you. Also in the description is a link to my Etsy shop and my landscape paintings. I may have to check if those are still up to date, but if you click it and they're there, then we're doing good. So be sure to check those out. That always helps me and supports me. It gets me to paint more. I haven't painted in a long time, but that always comes in phases, as well as a link to C60 Purple Power, the most powerful antioxidant known to man. Give yourself the gift of health. And if you've never heard of C60 Purple Power, search it up and watch some videos and do some research, because it's a life-changing thing. Give yourself the gift of health, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Until next time, be the change you want to see. Be the example you want to set. No, 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 no.